So what I want to do today is to give you a little bit of a review lecturette about investing, and I want to talk to you very quickly as well about the estate tax. Okay, so the framework we're going to use this is as if you would have inherited some money. I'll get to that in just a minute. Or someone asks you, hey, I got somebody who's going to be, kicking that bucket pretty soon. Or, somebody just sitting around waiting for their parents to go because that's their retirement plan. It happens. I know people like that. I covered a couple weeks ago with the estate tax. Basically what happens with estates is that you calculate the gross estate, which is all of the decedent's stuff. You subtract the allowable costs, administration, funeral expenses. We covered all that stuff in a previous webinar. And that gives you what's called the adjusted gross estate. So if you want to use a real estate example, it'd be like the value of the house minus the debt is the equity. It's the same basic idea. Okay, minus debt and closing costs, rather. That's the equity. That's the cash you'd walk out with if you were to sell. So in an estate, analogously, that's the portion that will be subject to the estate tax. You take that adjusted gross estate and then you subtract any exclusion available either at the federal and or the state level. Okay, so currently in Washington state, since a lot of you guys are in Washington, the estate tax exclusion, think of it as a credit if that's easier for you, is $3,076,000. That is going to drop on July 1st. This is what the legislature did in the last round. They're dropping it back to $3 million and they're freezing it. So the reason it's $3,076,000 right now is that $76,000 was an inflation adjustment. The legislature eliminated the inflation adjustment, which would make the exclusion go up, better for taxpayers, decedents, and estates. The state stopped that effective July 1st of this year. Okay, so if you got somebody that's getting ready to go and they worry about $76,000, you might want to scoot them on to the next place before June 30th, because July 1st in Washington state this year, that changes. That's the state estate tax in my state and a lot of us, our state. There's also a federal estate tax. However, that exclusion is $15 million. Okay, so by and large, a lot of people are not going to be hit by the estate tax.